Hi, my name is Brent Cunningham. I am the Operations Director for Small Press Distribution in Berkeley, and we are the nation's only nonprofit distributor of literary titles. We have about 400 publishers that we distribute for, and we're trying to create a series of videos here, how-to for aspiring small press publishers, give you some advice and help navigate you through the difficult world of learning how to be a small press publisher. This is the first in a series. This one, we're going to have some videos about printing, distribution, pricing, marketing, so real exciting topics coming up. This one's going to start off with printing. So if you're a small press publisher and you're trying to make a decision about what to do, how to print your book, and the first question you're going to ask is, what kind of printing are you going to use for your book? There are two options, really. One is called POD. It's also known as digital printing. Sometimes it's also called short-run printing. And this is where an electronic file is used to print the book. The other option, the older option, is called offset printing. And that's where they make physical plates. Usually there's a minimum run that they're going to have to make that project worth the money to do. And you're probably looking at least 500 books per run. Now, if you're the rule of thumb to try to determine, am I going to print my book POD digitally or am I going to print it offset, is to figure out how many books you think you're going to sell over the lifetime of the book. If it's more than 500 and you also have the money up front to get that initial run of 500, it's probably going to be more cost effective to go offset. A lot of our presses, we have 400 small literary presses, a lot of them don't in the end end up selling 500 copies of their books, and so they end up intelligently doing print on demand, or also known as digital printing. If you are going to do digital printing, POD, and you hear people talking about POD printing, often what people mean are companies like Smashwords or iUniverse or Lulu, BookBaby is another one, CreateSpace, Lightning Source. All of these companies, there are really a ton of them out there doing basically the same service. All these companies have something that you need to be very aware of as a small press publisher, which is that they will often bundle a distribution service inside the cost of just printing your book for you. So they offer other elements besides just printing. These kinds of distribution services, I'll call them, range from, in the case of a Lulu or an iUniverse, they run an e-commerce site to sell your book directly to the public. Now that costs them money, and they'll end up bundling that cost into the cost of the book that they're selling you. Similarly, or sort of on the other side of it, Lightning Source has a service where they'll take the data from your book and they'll put it through Ingram's database. Now, Ingram's the world's largest wholesaler. And from Ingram, in theory, hundreds of thousands of customers, bookstores, and libraries could buy that book. That's a distribution service that Lightning Source is charging you in the cost of your book. You might want these distribution services. They might be a great thing for your press. The key thing to notice is that if you have a distributor like SPD, we are providing those services for you at a cost as well. So the important thing is to not pay twice for that same service. If you have a distributor and you're also printing your book digitally through someone who's charging you for this distribution service, you want to be very careful about that. So let's decide that you have decided to go offset printing. A lot of our 400 publishers do offset print their books. They're really, SPD isn't going to, as a nonprofit funded to serve and advise small publishers, we're probably not going to tell you exactly who to use to print. But I can tell you that out of our 400 publishers, an awful lot of them use the following three printers to do their offset printing. McNaughton & Gunn is a very common one. Thompson & Shore is a very common one, and Edwards Brothers is also used quite frequently. Those presses, which are many of our presses that are doing POD or digital printing, tend to use, pretty overwhelmingly, a company called Bookmobile out of Minneapolis. And some of them also use Thompson & Shore or Edwards Brothers as well. Both those companies do both POD and offset printing. But the important thing, besides those names, you might want to contact some of them, is to realize that all of these printers should be able to give you a quote. They can send you samples, you can compare. You've got to figure out for your press what's going to be the right fit. You're going to be very critical of the fact that there can be these hidden fees bundled inside of the cost, per book cost. So that's the basic overview of printing. For all these videos, if you have any questions at all, we'd love to try to answer them. My email is Brent, B-R-E-N-T, at spdbooks.org. And love to hear some questions, and the next section will be on distribution. Thanks.